1017 FM and 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Aaron McCarty. Don't be fooled by the overly dramatic music. Aaron and I are still here.
Sounds like we're having a fight in here or something.
Coming up this morning, in fact, coming up right now, it's the 1017 FM and 710 Keel, our first mayoral forum presented by Shreveport Security Systems. I will start at the mayor's end of the table and introduce our candidates. And then, ladies, gentlemen, Aaron, as she is sort of the referee for this little get-together.
We don't need a referee.
She'll explain the rules. First of all, Mayor Ollie Tyler is here. Welcome.
Good morning.
Shreveport businessman Leo Savage. Caddo Commissioner Stephen Jackson.
Good morning.
West Point grad, Army vet, Shreveport guy Adrian Perkins, and former Shreveport policeman and Crime Stoppers boss Jim Talifero. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome one and all.
I do want to offer our apologies to the other candidates because we would love to have them all here. We do not have room in the studio. As you guys see, we are slammed and crowded. We will have them in at another occasion to talk about their issues. I'm going to give you each a minute to open. Tell us why you want to be mayor, why you're running. And then we're going to go through and just ask questions. We're going to give quick, about a minute responses. We're not going to be, we're not going to throw the whip or anything.
And the candidates, whoever goes first, will rotate around.
We're going to rotate that around. We Robert and I were real careful about these questions are from Robert and I. We did have listeners who submitted some questions that we may or may not use, but I told him we took no questions from other candidates or anybody like that. For the most part, these are ours. So I'll be quite blunt with you. We're going to start first with Mr. Talifero. He's at seat number 1 with your opening remarks.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks, Robert, and thanks, Aaron. If you keep doing what you've always done, we're going to keep getting what we've always got. And if we keep doing that, then where will we end in 5, 10, or 15 years? When I go downtown and I look at the skyline, I see that's a skyline of a beautiful city, a great city. Do we have some issues? Yes, we do. Can we solve those issues? Yes, we can. Will it be work? You bet it will. Will it be worth it? Absolutely. I'm Jim Talifero. I'm your candidate for mayor. And when my 16-year-old came up to me and says, "Dad, why is everybody down on Shreveport?" I says, "Tell me what you need, baby." She says, "Well, all my friends they're just down on Shreveport. They just say there's nothing to do, the litter's bad, the roads are bad." And I says, "There's probably mimicking what they're hearing from their parents." As a former law enforcement officer and military-minded guy, this is the reason I'm running for mayor. It's time to do something about the future of our city. More importantly, the future of the city for our children and our grandchildren. We want to leave them a legacy. Right now, I believe our legacy is not in good hands. But that's the reason I'm running for mayor, and I'm Jim Talifero, your candidate for mayor.
Next up, I believe, is Mr. Adrian Perkins. Welcome. Thank you. Your opening remarks.
Thank you, Rob. Welcome. Good morning. I'm Adrian Perkins, as you already stated, West Point graduate, served in the military for 8 years, serving in Iraq and Afghanistan, culminating with company command in Afghanistan, managing a multi-million-dollar budget, then going to Harvard Law School. My vision for the city is simple. Is to decrease crime and increase job opportunities. I've proposed the way we do that on the economic front is by having a more robust and modern infrastructure, high-speed internet throughout the city, also pursuing an international airport, and making long-term investments so that we can actually fix more roads in the future. Also on the crime front, I've been very, very clear since the beginning, since I announced in April, that we got to start at the top. We need a new police chief that's full-time. And we also need to have a greater police presence in our neighborhoods. I don't care if the police officers are walking, riding a horse, or on a pogo stick. We need to have more police presence in our neighborhoods. And if we do that, then we will have a more prosperous city. We will have a safer city. And if you want that, then you'll vote Adrian Perkins, number 60 on your mayoral ballot, for leadership for our future.
Next up, I believe, Mr. Jackson, Caddo Commissioner.
Good morning, Robert and Aaron, and thank you for having us on. Good morning, KEEL listeners. I'm Stephen Jackson. I'm running for mayor because I understand that Shreveport is the capital of the Arklatex. Our infrastructure to our assets here with the port, the medical school, and our colleges and universities, we have to make Shreveport a city of opportunity. We have to address crime. That is an issue. I have been saying for the last 3 years, it doesn't matter what the numbers say. The numbers can say crime is 40% down, but if you have been victimized or you have been the victim of a crime, crime is 100% up to you. And so we have to be serious about owning the problem, and we have to come up with holistic solutions with fixing it. We have to be serious about economic development, incremental economic development. Superman is not coming. We have businesses here who have to be cultivated and invested in. We have to help them scale and stay. We also have to invest in our neighborhoods, keeping them clean, keeping them strengthened through home ownership, and making sure we enforce property standards. I have experience. I'm a candidate who can actually say that I have taken a pay cut myself. I voted to repeal the automatic pay raises that commissioners were given. I voted and led the charge to repeal CEPRs. I voted and reduced the excessive travels that commissioners was taking. So I'm a man of my word. I came in, I made a promise, and I kept those promises, and I believe I will be glad to implement change in City Hall. Thank you.
Coming up next, Mr. Leo Savage.
Robert, Aaron, Matt, thank you. I appreciate it, and all the listeners. Enjoyable group of people here. My name is Leo Savage. I'm running for mayor simply because I was sitting back, just like everybody out there, every listener out there. I was sick of the crime, the litter, our infrastructure, everything's crumbling around us, and it has been for years. We have to look at 2014 numbers on homicides were 20. In 2017, there were 56. So we have to look at that. We have to look at what's going on. We have to look at everything that we know we can do. The first thing I want to do is certainly get a new police chief, somebody that has passion, somebody that cares about our city as much as I do. I want to make sure they get mad. I want them to get upset. I don't want anybody to get up on stage when something good's happened. I want them to get up on stage when everything happens. But my name is Leo Savage. Again, vote for me November 6th.
And final opening remark, Mayor Ollie Tyler.
Thank you so much, and I want to thank you all for having me here this morning, and I want to applaud the other candidates who have offered themselves for service. I'm running for re-election because I, too, have concerns about our city. Not only have I had concerns, I have proven results. I'm not a politician. I am an elected official. This is my first elected position, but I have a track record of getting things done, not of talking the talk, but walking the walk. And I have those results from my previous life as a leader and as a CEO. And I'm here because I love Shreveport. And of course, a lot of these young people have come through the school system where I served not only as a teacher, but as principal, as superintendent, and then I was recruited to come to the state level because we were there making a difference. We put in place a comprehensive plan. We've been able to implement that plan. Look around you. We're getting things done.
I think first question, and we'll start with Mr. Talaferro in chair number one. Aaron, you've got the first question.
Yes. Actually, we're going to start with Adrian Perkins.
Okay.
Police officers tell us, let us do our jobs, that our hands are tied. Is that part of our problem? What can you do to solve that?
Aaron, I too sit with quite a few police officers and listen to their recommendations and what they want to see, and that's the reason why at the beginning I harped on new leadership in that police department. And it's nothing personal to the current police chief. I hear that he's a good person from other police officers, from members of his congregation at his church. It's about bringing the competencies and the time to the job. The competencies as far as operations, for instance. Right now, our peak crime hours is around 10 o'clock at night in Shreveport. So why aren't the bulk of our officers patrolling our streets during those times? If you have the operational background for that, then a police chief will recognize that. And I'm sure those are the type of gripes and complaints that the officers working the streets notice. And those are the ones bringing it up. So I have to side with our officers in that. And again, leadership is very, very important. And aside from leadership, as I've already pointed out, we got to increase the police presence in our neighborhoods where it's needed most.
Stephen?
Yes, I think that we have to have a district level approach to crime fighting. We cannot sit back. I've said for the last 3 years that we cannot sit back and pretend that crime is down. The numbers, we can make the numbers say what they want to say. That's just some way to go out and tell citizens that, hey, your home got broken in this morning, but it's okay. 200,000 other folks didn't. We have to hold people accountable. I have advocated and tried to put in place a system that will actually hold individuals accountable with the crime cameras and the shot spotter technology. We have to come into the 21st century with regard to our technology and how we actually deal with policing. I believe we can do a build out at some of our SPAR centers to increase the presence in our police districts and make sure that our response times are quicker. And so I think citizens will feel a little bit more confident. There was a news article a couple of days ago that said people have no faith that people will show up on time. And so we have to be serious about our response time and making sure that our officers are responding and making sure that our leadership is held accountable.
Leo Savage?
I talk to people all the time, and every time they say something, they're like, I'm leaving Shreveport, I'm moving to Bossier. I said, why? They said, well, simply because, Shreveport police, everybody gets by with things. Over in Bossier, they don't play. Well, I want to make sure you look at it, speed of the leader, speed of the pack. And I want to make sure we have a leader who allows our police officers to be tough. I want that reputation here. I don't want to be on national television with anything bad, but I do want our police officers to do what they do, what they signed up to do, and that is to uphold justice. They are there to protect and serve, and that's what I expect them to do, and that's what I expect our police chief to allow them to do. Right now we don't even have it where they can do a chase because of safety. But so somebody robs you, we catch somebody, they take off, and we can't even chase them. Let's watch them. So to answer your question specifically, absolutely, I think that the gloves need to come off. We need to get tough on crime.
Mayor Tyler.
Thank you so much. And let me just say that we all are concerned about crime. Crime is up and down in every urban major city in America, not just Shreveport. And crime has really spiked in the last year and a half, but it has spiked across the country. But let me tell you, we have plans in place. We collaborate, we team, we have task forces, not only in Shreveport, with the national FBI, with the U.S. Marshal's Office, with the Sheriff Department. We have put together a strategic plan, and we're working that plan. Now, people are willing to look at the numbers when they're up, but they're not willing to look at the numbers when they start going down. Crime spikes up and down. It's most of it is domestic related. The incident yesterday was a domestic related incident. People, this is a free country. You have a right to have a gun, and people are free to make decisions. But we have to come together as a community, and we can solve those crimes. And I can tell you that 1 million people come in here every year and enjoy Shreveport. It's a great place to be, and they're not afraid.
Jim Talaferro.
Yeah, of all the candidates, I'm the only law enforcement candidate with over 30 years law enforcement experience. One of the things that I do know is the functionality and the dysfunctionality of the police department. There are many things that need to be done. We need to actually place good leadership in the police department. A leader's responsibility is to train other leaders. This is what police officers are looking for: someone that is the tip of the spear that they can follow, someone that sets the course, charts the course, and sets the sail, and then points the ship in the right direction. We need to give them competitive salaries. We are far below the national average as far as our population is concerned. These are morale builders. These are morale losers. So what we need to focus on is, let's do something for our officers. Let's give them a great fleet. Let's give them even a new building. This should be in a 5-year plan at least. But let's treat them like they need to be treated, like they serve and protect out there, and we'll do fine.
My turn? Mm-hmm. Okay, we're going to start with Mr. Jackson, I think.
Yes, it is.
Miss Ollie said a couple of seconds ago in reference to the shooting yesterday, and we hear this a lot. Well, the people involved, whoever did the shooting, they knew who it was, whoever they shot. So I guess my question is, what can the mayor do to change the culture where young people are willing to shoot each other over $10, or because you insulted my car, or because you winked at my girlfriend? Well, what can the mayor do to change that mindset?
Well, I think as a leader, one, as I've always said, you have to step up and own the problem and realize we've been saying for 2 years or 3 years now that crime is on an uptick. And I've been constant. I've come in here and said it before. We've always said that crime is on a rise. We have never came out and said up until last week that, hey, this is an issue and we're not going to tolerate it. One of the things as a leader, what we have to do is we have to as the mayor, you have to appoint a leadership team at the Shreveport Police Department that says we're also going to deal with conflict resolution. Oftentimes, we're just responding to issues. We know that a lot of these things fester. Part of my proposal is to, from a holistic point of view, is to put in mental health. And start getting to the root cause of why these things are happening. We also have to address systemic poverty and economic development. Some of these things, a person is, if I wake up knowing that I'm going to go to work and make $20 an hour, I'm not going to shoot anybody over $5 that they owe me. Those kind of things we have to get out in front of. And so the economics is driving a lot of the crime. And so we have to be about the business of creating economic opportunity, and we have to be about the business of conflict resolution and mental health and substance abuse treatment.
KEEL's Mayoral Forum, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, presented this morning by Shreveport Security Systems. Mr. Leo, you're next.
It's a two-part answer. First, and I hope I can get to both. The first part, we really need to, one of the things I want to do is establish a mentorship program. I want to get a black male, black female. I want to get a white male, white female, Asian, Hispanic, and I want us to start going. I want to get a group, not just 5 people. A lot of the people right here could definitely do this, but we need to go into schools. We need to go up there, and I think they would certainly accept us in and start talking to them. If I'm a black male, say I'm 13, 14, 15 years old, whatever I get up to say, I might not inspire that person. But if someone else that was successful, that had come from, say, nothing, and they had got into something, and now they are somebody, they can look at that and they say, yes, I can do that. And I think we have to start inspiring our kids, our young minds, to do that. The other thing real quick, and I know I'm about to be out of time, but we really need to implement cameras. Project NOLA down in New Orleans, when I visited, we can put these things out all over our city, let people know that we're watching. I mean, if you got Big Brother watching, I think that, we have something that we can actually police at that point.
Miss Ollie?
Thank you so much. And let me just say that I agree with some of what I've heard this morning. We have put in place crime prevention strategies, and I want you to know that throughout the year we have more than 50 different youth programs that we put in place. We have hired over 500 plus students from high schools and from just young adults, 16 to 24 years old. We've given them jobs. We also have in place a training center, the Caddo Business and Career Center, where we have about 20,000 people that have gone through there. We do job referrals. We do job prevention. We do counseling. We connect with every nonprofit in this city. And we have been working diligently, trying to put in place, and we have done that, crime prevention strategies. But we need also to we've owned the problem. We know it's up. We've been out there. We've strategized with all of the other law enforcement agencies. So it's not true that we haven't owned the problem. We've owned the problem. And we have leadership, but we have 500 plus police officers putting their lives on the line every single day, working to keep this city safe.
Mr. Jim Talaferro.
Yeah, this is a community problem. This is not just a law enforcement problem. Law enforcement's responsibility is to take that person that commits a crime and introduce them into the justice system. This is a community problem that has to do with pastors. It has to do with community leaders. And I, as the mayor, actually have to use the bully pulpit to make sure that those all come together. It's all about synergy. Synergy in solving the problem. Yes, we own the problem, and we should acknowledge the problem. It is all about going to family, helping those families, the person or the parent with the single parent with the 2 children, making sure they have a good preschool. Preschool is the fundamental avenue to a good education. Apprentice programs with local businesses. I've talked to local business partners, and they're willing to have an apprentice program to they'll take a young man or young woman that's interested in a specific field, and actually groom them, mentor them, into being a productive member of society, give them a fair wage and actually give them a good skill. So this is a community issue. This is not just the mayor's issue. It's not law enforcement's issue. Again, law enforcement kind of takes the rap a lot of times, but it's a community issue, and we can definitely solve it.
Adrian Perkins.
One of my favorite sayings is nothing stops a bullet like a job. This is very much tied to the crime problem we have is very much tied to the economic problem here. So if we want to get to the root of the problem, we have to provide people with better job opportunities. And again, I'm proposing that we do, universal high-speed internet in our city. Cities like Chattanooga, Tennessee took their average annual income and increased it by $20,000 within 10 years because they pursued this type of idea. They also cut their unemployment rate in half. And we have to offer Shreveporters opportunities like that, because a lot of the crimes that are committed out of desperation. People just don't have much. Over half of our city makes about $40,000, and that's too close to the poverty line. Even longer term investments that we can make once we begin to grow our city, like Chattanooga has done, is looking at investing in our children, investing in universal pre-K programs, investing in other programs. And with the high-speed internet, it also has some public safety implications. During the Parkland shooting, for instance, in Florida, the first responders were actually reacting about 20 minutes behind because they didn't have that type of infrastructure to directly feed them in real time. So again, high-speed internet has education implications, employment implications, public safety implications, and we have to modernize our internet capabilities here, as I proposed to City Council and to the mayor over a year and a half ago. We have to do that.
KEEL's Mayoral Forum once again presented this morning by Shreveport Security Systems. Aaron, what you got?
Oh, Stephen needs to answer that question. Did we
No,
start?
we started with Stephen.
You went first?
Again.
Yeah, my bad. I'm sorry. We're going to start with Leo Savage now. Sorry about that. We've talked about on this radio station a long time ago, and I really think we ought to explore it. It's done in Baton Rouge. It's done in Lafayette. Are you in favor of combining city and parish government? Why or why not?
I think a lot of people have done this in the past, and it's worked pretty well. Right now, I see us as being disjointed. I see us as not a whole team, and we all know that, if you can work together as a team, you're going to accomplish a lot more. You have a mayor, you have a city council, you have the Caddo Parish Commission, you have MPC, and in my opinion, I don't think there's a clear goal for anyone. Everybody's working on their own agenda. So to combine those would certainly be an asset, in my opinion, for our city. What we have to do is we've got to make sure that again, we have one common goal, and that is to move Shreveport forward. And again, my opinion right now, everybody's working and going separate ways.
Mayor Tyler, you in favor of it?
And thank you so much. Let me say, I too believe that it doesn't matter about the form of government. I think unity is the key. I agree with Mr. Savage in that, we have a different form of government. East Baton Rouge has the parish city form, but they have one of the highest rate of crime in the state. And of course, their homicide rate is double ours right now. But I want to tell you that unity brings people together. We work with everybody. We work with the parish commission. We work with the sheriff. We work with the U.S. Marshals. We work with all the nonprofits. We put in place a plan, a strategic plan of action that produces results. It has metrics. It's not about talk. It's about getting it done. So it doesn't matter to me what form of government. What matters is that we all come together. If you love Shreveport, then you have to provide the services, and it can't be about you. We all have challenges, and it's not going to happen overnight. We've put in place a lot of things. We've brought in, technology companies. We're doing all of that, but we've got to come together.
Jim?
Yeah, I believe that there's opportunities, for combining the two, but let's remember that it's all about communication. A majority of Shreveport is within the commission's responsibility. And so it is about communication. I think we need to be meeting a lot more frequently, because we have the same concerns about the city. We have the same concerns about the parish. And no one entity has all the solutions. But when you come together and have synergy and have a common goal and have a common practice in place, then I think things can really move. Ideologies are not important. Ideas are important. So bring these people to the table more frequently. Talk about the real issues. Talk about real solutions. Listen to your constituents and move forward. That's what leaders are supposed to be doing. That's what leaders should do.
Adrian?
If the city parish model saves us resources and allows us to operate more effectively, I would be an advocate for that. And also, you would have to talk to the leaders of the city and the people of the city if that's what they wanted. Right now, we do see collaboration from the city and the parish, and it is a bit disjointed. We'll pick and choose which topics we'll pick and choose which topics we work with. So maybe that model would be more effective, but I'll say this: in doing that model, you do need a leader who's going to listen to the people and what they want. You do need a leader that's good with working with the people on the parish commission and the city council, and a leader that just works well with everybody anyway. Somebody that's used to building teams around solving problems, and I think that would be critical if we ever was to pursue that.
Stephen Jackson.
Well, I've said before when we've had that conversation, I think it's very much an opportunity to explore. What I often see is a lot of duplication of services. I think it can also, from an economic development aspect, help us with regard to being competitive with our tax system, our tax structure, our property tax, and to actually be able to lower some taxes if we get rid of some of the duplications. Now, I often tell you, and I've told y'all before, I think it may upset some people at the city and at the parish, because you're going to duplicate. I mean, you're going to get rid of some duplication. That means you're going to eliminate some job positions. But it's worth exploring. For instance, the General Motors plant, back when it was failing, that's how we ended up with the CF for General Motors, was that it's actually out in the parish. A lot of people believe that General Motors is in the city limits, but it's your mayor and your city council that's going to take the brunt of the hit. And so we have to have that single, I believe we have to have some more synergy and a single focus of direction when economic development prospects come to town. Do they go to the city? Do they go to the parish? Are they going to the school board? So there's some synergies that can be created. We do work together, but we often, more often than not, what I see from the inside looking out is we work in silos, and that shouldn't be the case. We have to have a leader who's willing to bring folks together on all of the issues,
Thank
and
you,
not
Stephen.
just some.
1017 FM and 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Aaron McCarty. It's our first Keel Mayoral Forum presented by Shreveport Security Systems. Let me reintroduce the candidates since it's about the half-hour mark. Mayor Ollie Tyler is here, Mr. Leo Savage, Cattle Commissioner Stephen Jackson, Adrian Perkins, and Jim Talaferro. You know, next question. Mr. Jackson said in his opening remarks, Superman ain't coming. Well, maybe Superman is already here, and maybe Superman is Shreveport as a medical research hub. There have been various plans over the last 10 years or more to get everybody, biomedical research, which is now going to be Oxner, or however you pronounce it, and Willis Knighton, and formerly Schumpert, to get everybody to work together. I guess since Mayor Ollie Tyler is starting this go-round, the question is, has that ship sailed? Is it too late to get everybody to work together on the medical front and make this a medical research hub of the South?
No, I don't believe that it's too late for us to improve and make this city the greatest city in the South. Honestly, I too recognize that we are the capital of the architects. In fact, our video that we have been promoting Shreveport, which says we are the capital. People come here from around the nation and around the world just to be a part of our medical community. And I'll tell you something that we did. We tried to make sure that when we went out for the opportunity zones that President Trump made available for people who want to come in and develop, we actually put that one as part of our opportunity zone. It was not approved, but we know the importance of the medical community and what it can do, the jobs it can create, and the high-paying opportunities for our young people. So we're going to keep pushing that. We have worked with each of the various different medical systems. And of course, we have one or two, and we need to bring them together. And we've been working with our governor trying to make that happen.
Mr. Jim Talaferro?
Yeah, we have a great opportunity and a great facility over there at LSU. The thing is that, yeah, while we are the medical hub, we are a hub of so many other things. Again, capital of the architects, hub of the wheel. Manufacturing, distribution, medical, technology, the arts. We have everything we need right here, right now to succeed. It's all about synergy again, bringing it all together to make it work within one. It's great to have a big box idea, and we've seen how big box ideas can actually move in a moment's notice. Obviously, we're hoping and we're praying and we're working hard that medical facility never leaves. But let's not discount the power of a small business to the economic impact that it has on our community. We focus on that. Obviously, the medical community is paramount, but safety and security is paramount as well. people will not come here and do whatever they're going to do if we're not safe and secure. We need to focus on that. So big box, the medical facility, absolutely. We're going to do whatever we can to make sure that it never goes away. Thank you.
And Adrian Perkins.
Rob, I have to go back to my tech platform with this. Telehealth is one of the leading concepts in medicine today. It will be a huge part of medicine's future. Again, if we have that tech platform here in Shreveport, it would absolutely facilitate us being that, research capital that you talked about, and not just for the region, but we can be it for the country. But again, you need bold leaders with that type of vision that can implement that. A couple weeks ago, I was visiting the oncology radiation department at Willis-Knighton, and they don't just attract people from the region or the country, they attract people internationally. It's one of the top facilities in the world. You need a mayor that's going to go out and cheerlead for those type of initiatives that's happening in our city every single day to get even more people involved. So the time for that isn't in the future. We can start doing that right now, facilitating growth in that particular sector, again, to bring more jobs to our community. Another example that I'll give, looking at other cities, is Columbus, Ohio. They have, venture capitalists. They have a ton of people to help their research dollars generate jobs directly from their facility. Again, we can be doing that right now, but you need a leader who knows how to do those things.
Stephen Jackson.
I've always talked about the medical school as being a medical hub, Shreveport being a medical hub. It's an opportunity that I think we have missed. I've written articles about, I think it is our most precious asset that we have right now, immovable asset that we have right now. Sitting in front of me is an email from the LSU Medical School where they've been communicating with LED, and what it says, and I can share this with you, is that local input in every region for prioritization of what tracks were included in opportunity zones were considered. We, the parish commission, here's where we're not working together. The parish commission submitted the opportunity zone. The city did not submit the opportunity zone, track 217. And so, here we are. This is why I say we have to be at the table working together all the time. We have to be about the business of supporting the medical school, growing medical health, and the hospital. We can't allow either one of those to fail. Baton Rouge wants a medical school. They've already started planning for a medical corridor, and we have to stand up and protect it at all costs. We even have to go to Baton Rouge and get in our legislators' face and say, the equity and disparity that exists between New Orleans and Shreveport cannot exist anymore.
Leo Savage.
One of our largest, and if not the largest, job opportunities we have right now is the medical field. I mean, look at Willis-Knighton, look at LSU, and that's where most of our jobs are. We have missed the boat on so many things, and you have got to be an aggressive leader. You have got to want it more than anybody. You've got to be willing to fight. You've got to be willing to go to Baton Rouge. You got to be willing to go to Washington. You have to be willing to fight. You are the leader. You're the voice of the city. We have missed out on so much with the opportunities of being that medical hub. We've got to be the medical hub. We've got to be a transportation hub. But the facts are, if we don't go out there and get it, we're going to lose it. We do have that with LSU, with Ochsner. So we have a lot of opportunity, but we've got to have someone that's willing to go out and fight and talk for our city to make sure that they know they're welcome. What can I do for you to bring you into Shreveport?
101.7 FM and 710 KEEL's Mayoral Forum is presented, as mentioned, by Shreveport Security Systems. Aaron, what you got?
Jim Talaferro, start with you this time. We've talked a lot about jobs and the economy, and I want to hone in on it. Give me 3 specific things you will do as mayor to bring in jobs and boost our economy.
All right, the first thing is the leader needs to be the tip of the spear. Wherever there's opportunities, the mayor needs to be the chief marketing officer of the city. And if that requires going outside the city and recruiting new businesses, showing actually what we have here as a city to make them want to come, that's great. The most important thing is that economy. We need to grow our economy. We need to actually have an economy that is going to sustain a new business coming in. New businesses are great. Existing businesses are the key to our success, I believe. Now, another thing is curb appeal. We must rebrand and revitalize Shreveport. Everybody knows you want to sell a house, you have to either paint the house, wash your car, whatever higher price you want to put on that, the value of that that thing, you have to go out and make sure that you do everything you can to make sure that people want to come here. Safety and security is paramount. Curb appeal is paramount. Cleaning up the trash, making sure our grass is cut. These are the little things, but they attract businesses. Also, millenniums play a big part in attracting new businesses.
Adrian Perkins.
Jim, I got to quickly correct you because I'm a millennial, so I got to say it's millennial. And how we do it. You're right. No, I'm kidding. So it's three ways that we do that. Again, I've talked about the infrastructure and how tech is a big part of that. I've also talked about what we need to focus on here locally when I was referencing what we can do with our medical facilities. But the third part is extremely important because it's how you do it. And how you do it is looking at cities like Plano, Texas. Plano has an economic development department of 5 full-time employees. So we need to do a nationwide search for an economic development director, and we need to surround that director with a team of people that can constantly pursue economic opportunities for our city. If you do that, then again, like Plano, Texas, they have more Fortune 500 companies than the state of Louisiana. They grow their own corporations right there at home. So if we actually have a team, we can develop those things right now in Shreveport. But again, we don't have leadership that thinks boldly enough and just looks right outside of our city. We do not need Superman. We have what we already have what we need right here.
Stephen Jackson.
Well, it's kind of great to hear candidates wrapping around my opportunity agenda. Plano, Texas, and all cities in Texas have a dedicated sales tax for economic development. We don't have resources, and I'm not advocating that we levy a tax. What I'm saying is we have to look at the resources we have, and we have to be able to put them in a place where when companies come, they know what we have to offer. We have to have a team of non-political economic development professionals willing to be out, be on the road, going to those trade shows, going to those manufacturers, managers, trade shows, so they can bring those companies here. But we have to invest in our local economy. We have a water and sewer consent decree where I'm talking to contractors, they're saying local companies cannot get work. And so why are we sending all of our resources back to a contractor in Philadelphia or somewhere else? We have an opportunity to invest in them now so they can scale and stay. We also have to invest in our workforce training. A lot of CEOs that I talk to will tell you that they have an issue with retaining human resources, and so we have to be willing to invest in our workforce, invest in pre-K, universal pre-K, so that children and individuals are ready to go when they're ready to come out of school.
Leo Savage.
Shreveport's like an ice cream cone, really nice ice cream cone we just dropped in the dirt. We're not going to be able to sell that ice cream cone. What we've got to do is clean up our city. Our trash is everywhere. It's pathetic. Our crime rate is sky high. We can't compare our city to anybody. We have to own our issues right here, right now. We certainly have to address our infrastructure. You know, once we do that, we need an economic development person. It's going to go out. It's going to go, I don't care if it's the U.S. or if it's China or Germany or wherever. We have to have individuals that are going out there trying to get businesses back into Shreveport. You know, you cannot bring them in here now because of what we have. Nobody wants to move here. That's why we're losing so many people. 9,800 people in the last 7 years. I think since 2010, U.S. Census Bureau says that we've lost 9,800 people. It's terrible. We've got to start fixing our problems and then go out and bring in the manufacturers back. We have that, and that's where we can get our jobs.
Mayor Tyler.
Thank you so much. And let me first say, before I answer the question, is that, I have the proof that we did submit the Opportunity Zone thing, and I did sit with the Parish Commission parish administrator, and we did discuss what we were going to submit. So I have the facts, and I'm asking people to look at the facts. Number one, we can market our city better, and we're doing that. And I can tell you we have an aggressive economic development person, along with we work with NLEP. We give them dollars to make sure that they work with us. We also work aggressively with LED to make sure that we're marketing our cities, that we're bringing in companies, and companies are coming here. The next thing I want to say is that we have to grow the capacity of the businesses that are here. We've been doing that. We work directly with LEP. We work in LEP. We work with LED. We're bringing in business summits. We're bringing in annual workshops to make sure that our people know how to obtain license so that they can do better, they can grow their businesses. And also we have to provide opportunities for our youth to have hope, and we need to invest in them.
1017 FM and 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Aaron McCarty. The Mayoral Forum presented again by Shreveport Security Systems. I think we're starting with Mr. Perkins on this question. Mr. Leo just pointed out, and I think it's a given fact that the tax base is leaving Shreveport. As mayor, how can you be more than not only an administrator, but an inspirational leader to people on both sides of the economic coin, i.e., how do you convince the people who are well off to stay, and how do you convince the people who are less well off that there's still hope?
I think that this election is big for our city. If you look at most of the people that are going to be mobile and moving around to other cities, you're talking about college graduates and you're talking about younger people that really don't have deep roots in the city. If you have a mayor that is a millennial, someone who's younger, someone who understands those trends, we send a signal out to the United States in November that Shreveport is a young, vibrant city. That will attract people to our city, which is needed. Under the current administration, we've lost 5,000 residents. We cannot afford, considering how dependent our economy is on taxing, we cannot afford to continue losing people. We need somebody who's going to go out, show the United States that we are open for business, that we want young people to be coming to our city, and to do that, we need to also develop amenities, like make sure our downtown is robust and make sure our downtown has, various things with entertainment. There isn't a city around the country that you can point to that's growing that doesn't have a fun downtown. Young people want to work downtown, they want to get groceries downtown, they want to play downtown, and we need to have young leadership in our city to show that we're open for business.
Stephen Jackson.
Thanks. And Aaron, I just want to because I have your email, you got the email about the opportunity zones and what the state has said, so something's not right. Okay. To answer your question, is how do you convince the person who is well-to-do and inspire hope for that person who is sort of Shreveport. 40% of Shreveport and Caddo Parish lives either at poverty or below the poverty line. We have to be able to articulate to our business owners and our business community that we're all tied together. We're all interconnected. We cannot continue. The Titanic didn't sink from the top; it sunk from the bottom. And we have to come to the understanding that we all have to work together. This doesn't mean we have to give anything away, but we do have to let folks know that there is hope. We have to give folks an opportunity to have home ownership. We have to give individuals an opportunity to have a job. We have to invest in universal pre-K, but we also have to provide the incentives for individuals who are willing to say, look, do I want to invest in Shreveport right now? Why would I put down capital and make that investment in this company now, or should I look to Texas? We have to be able to willing to go in and provide those incentives, those tax abatements when they're meaningful and create jobs. And we have to be able to let everyone know that we're all in this together. And so as a mayor, you have to be the person who brings everyone together and say, Shreveport is going to sink or swim. We're going to sink or swim together.
Leo Savage.
The question, the wealthy and the needy. Basically, we've got for people who are comfortable now, I think they need transparency. I think that we're not transparent now. People pay taxes. That's an investment into our city. And right now we're not getting a return on our investment. So I think to be more transparent, to have at least a quarterly state of the city report, it should be in order. You call a press conference and this is what we've done. People don't know what they've done because we all live inside our boxes, our phones, our TVs. We don't know what happened in Cedar Grove. We don't know what happened in Southern Trace. Nobody knows this. So we have to make sure we communicate that properly. On the needy side, we have to go out and develop jobs. We have to, again, the mentorship program where we can go in their neighborhoods and start helping them. I believe that they're going to see hope. They're going to see inspiration. That's what a true leader does.
Mayor Tyler?
Okay, thank you so much. And let me just tell you, I do agree that we all sink we rise together, or we all sink together. And what we've done in this administration, what we will continue to do, and where we will go next is to make sure that we're being effective, efficient, and that we are getting things done. Now, also, we have shown that we can reduce property taxes. We reduced property taxes over the past 3 years by 6.05 mills. So those people who own a lot of property, we know that we are being effective and efficient in using the resources that we have. Also, those that are below the poverty level. We have actually seen, on an average, a drop in unemployment since I've been mayor from 7.9% on an average to 4.7%. And so let me tell you, that means that we've created a lot of jobs in Shreveport for those that are below. We've also been able to go out and bring in resources so that those working parents, single parents, every single day who have to work 2 or 3 jobs will have affordable and they'll have quality homes to live in. We've just finished doing some of that, and we will be putting those homes in place for those folks who really need that hand up.
And finally, Mr. Jim Talifero.
Yeah, one of the things that's going to be our strength in 5 or 10, 15 years is millennials. You know, I've spoken. Thank you, Adrian. I've spoken with numerous millennials. That's going to get me all day long. In that, you know, you're right. They want to work, play, worship right in one specific area. They don't like pockets. You know, one of the things that we can also look for is how we build our infrastructure. The infrastructure that we have currently is not conducive to, you know, the people that are going to inherit our city. You know, the bike paths, the walk paths, and so forth. They don't connect. They just end. And so we know that a millennial riding a bike that is a utilitarian is going to spend more money downtown than someone driving a car. If you take the average parking spot, you have one person contributing to the economy. You remove that parking spot, put bike racks in there, you have possibly 10 to 12 people generating, you know, stimulating the economy. As far as, I agree, we're all in this together, and together we can rebuild and revitalize Shreveport.
1017 FM at 710 Keel, the Mayoral Forum presented by Shreveport Security Systems. It is about 9 till 8 o'clock. So we have, I think,
This
time
starts
for...
with Stephen. We'll get right to it.
This may be the last question we have time
Might
for.
be. We shall see.
Go ahead.
Stephen Jackson.
Go.
Can the city afford to be in the business of paying for quality of life issues, i.e. Cross Bayou, Cyport, Aquarium, etc.?
Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask you to explain. Yeah, I think the city has a role that we have to play in quality of life issues. When we talk about how do we going to attract millennials and keep millennials and retain individuals who have wealth here or who have established roots here. When I often meet friends who say, I'm leaving Shreveport to go somewhere else, I say, well, you're going to go do something? He said, no, I have a kid, and you know, I want to be able to enjoy things that we like to do. And so we do have to invest in that. That is part of the job. I would like to see us revitalize Fairgrounds Field. I would like to see us utilize Independence Stadium more than just once a year or during high school football games. We have to have those quality of life issues. Our film festival is great, and I've been a supporter of all those things while I've been back here in Shreveport. I believe our parks are underutilized. We have to get out, and that's how we instill more pride in our community, is allowing our assets that we have. We have natural assets, but we have to make sure that those that are public-private partnerships, there has to be the private investment there. We cannot attach ourselves or get in bed with something that we don't have all the information on, and it has to be attached to meaningful economic development.
Leo Savage.
Quality of life, everybody wants a great quality of life. I know I do. I know all my friends and all the millennials do. So we look at everything around us and nothing is maintained. Fairgrounds Field, we spent $300,000 on it several years ago and walked away from it. Now the bats have taken over, so it's just sitting there. Nobody's using it. Now it's it's beginning to be an eyesore, and now it's going to have to take a lot of money to even get it. $247,000 just to get the bats out, and not the ball bats. So we have to look at things. We look downtown. And 2 years ago, we had a flood. There's still mud. You know, if you look at the steps down right across the railing, and there's still mud on the steps. The pad for the paddle boat overturned. It's a disgrace. We have got to quit trying to get things like Cross Bayou, where they're going to want us to spend $500 million, and a developer fee is 20%, and they're going to take that money and run. We need to maintain what we have, not go out there and spend people's money for anything else.
Mayor Tyler.
Thank you so much. And let me just tell you, I think absolutely that city government has a role in making sure that we have a good quality of life. And this administration has done just that. Over the past 3 years, of course, you're not going to fix everything in 3 years. And so let me first be just very blunt about that. You have to start. So in 3 years, we have actually spent millions of dollars on trying to just renovate and rebuild community centers so that people who live in those communities will have a place to go. Their families will have a place to go. We've done that. We've spent over $180 million trying to repair, renovate, overhaul an aging sewer system that's been neglected for 50 years. That's our job to make sure that that takes place. We've spent more than $58.6 million on new roads, because when we came in, the roads were collapsing. We have done, and we are doing, and we will continue to do. We have a plan in place that we use every single day to make these decisions. We've brought in 290 different conventions and events to this city so that people can have an enjoyable life, and a Shreveport aquarium, and bike lanes. And so we're doing all of that, and we'll continue that growth.
Jim Talaferro.
Yeah, this is the role of city government, to ensure that all people have a great quality of life. You know, and if you deliver the basic services and you do it right, you know, then everything else usually takes care of itself. You know, people are put back to work, lowers the crime rate. Increased tax base stimulates the economy. It's not rocket science. The point is that these are quality of life issues. And I, as the chief marketing officer, the city leader, cannot look at any other new projects where the city has to invest money when I have people crying and people hurting because of the quality of life issues, whether it's roads, whether it's sewer, whether it's litter. It really doesn't matter. I hear them calling and I hear their crying. So this is the responsibility of city government, is to take care of the basic needs of our citizens that are our employers. They are the employers. We're the employees.
Adrian Perkins.
Yes, I agree with everybody here. We have to, city government definitely has a role in quality of life in our city. But when you consider, again, our revenue problems with the fact that we were downgraded in our credit rating because, again, economic development, the lack of economic development, and how much we heavily rely on taxing, then we have to be smart with the few dollars that we have to dedicate to that. And being smart, you have to make long-term investments, like I said, about developing downtown to attract people to our city. And when you develop downtown, that just doesn't help downtown. You know, I don't want it to be, you know, think that that's an isolated investment. That investment will grow our city overall because, you know, Jim, millennials actually, once they leave downtown, they have kids. They want them to go to good schools, so they move from downtown. And they'll move out into the neighborhoods of our city. But Shreveport will be growing in the long term. So that's where that quality of life investments come in. You have to be smart with the dollars, and you have to look at other models around the country that are very proof, you know, to this day what's happening around the country, and that's how we invest in it.
I think we're out of time.
Are we really?
I think we are. 7:57. Ladies, gentlemen, thank you very much. Jim Talaferro, Adrian Perkins, Stephen Jackson, Leo Savage, and Mayor Ollie Tyler, our first mayoral forum. Hope we can set something else for not too far ahead. Thank you for joining us, and
Thank you.
Thank
we
you, guys.
appreciated your
Thank you
time.
for inviting us.